Hello and welcome to a new Blender tutorial. Today we're going to be using the new principled shader in Blenders. Came out in version 2.79. This is what your finished product is going to look like. You can see the metal shader. The metal shader on the monkey and the floor, and then the glossy shader on the letters there. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Open a new Blender scene and press A twice and delete everything. Then change the Blender engine to cycles, because that's what principled is in. And then Shift A and let's add a plane. Press S to scale it up to about the grid. And then once you're here, let's go ahead and Shift A, mesh, and then add a monkey. Yep. And then change the shading to smooth in the left side. Then drag the window out and let's go add a modifier. Let's go add the subsurf modifier right there. Then change the view to be 2. That should be good. Okay. Now let's use the G or the arrow keys, whichever you prefer, and let's position the monkey in the on the left back corner. So you can use G and X, or you can use the arrows, of course. And then if you want to rotate, you'll just press R and X, and then you'll rotate it about right there, maybe 30 degrees. And then you can just put it down on the platform like that. We can always adjust this later. I'm going to change the rotation using that tool. Okay. Once you get here, press Shift A and add text. Press Tab, and I'm going to type in principled. You can type in whatever you want. Now, you can press R, then X, and then 90. Take it to rotate on the X-axis 90 degrees. Then we're going to go to the text tab here, and I'm gonna add a font. You just press that button right there. You can download this font in the description. Okay, I'm just going to select it. There we go. Now I have a font. Now I'm gonna type in 0.1 in the extrusion. That way we have 3D text. And then now I'm going to center the text so it's in the center. Okay. So now we're going to add a bevel. You just go here, and you don't want to mess up, you don't want to add too much. So 0.7, 0.017 I mean, that'll work. Resolution should also be 1. I'm going to adjust this so it's actually on the ground. One way to easily adjust this, you could press N and then scroll down and then go to shading and then click on ambient occlusion. Change the strength to maybe 3. That should help you tell if it's properly on the ground, you know. So I'm actually going to scale the text down. That should do. I'm going to move it back. I'm going to press R. Yeah. Okay. Just line it up perfectly. That's nice. I'm going to see if my monkey's really aligned now. The back is not really on the ground, so I'm going to use the rotation tool to rotate it back. That's good. That's good. Okay. Now we need to align our camera. So I'm just going to move my view to the proper place. So now we're going to move the camera there. I like this spot, so I'm going to go press view, and then I'm going to align view. Actually, yeah, we need to add a camera first. So just Shift A and add a camera. Press View, then hit Align View, and then align active camera to view. Doesn't have to be selected, but it's not perfect. So to adjust this, we're gonna press N or make sure that window's open, and and then click Lock Camera to View. Now we can really adjust this camera on what we like. Now I'm gonna go to the camera tab, and I'm gonna change the focal length so it backs up for me. I don't have to zoom out. It looks nicer. That's good. Now we can uncheck lock camera to view so it doesn't mess up when we move, and then press N to get that menu go away. You can move out. And now we're gonna set up our lighting. I'm gonna Shift A, a lamp, a sun lamp, and then I'm gonna press R. I'm gonna move this over here, and then I'm gonna use the rotation tool. Actually, I'm just making sure I get the right rotation for the sun. That should do about there. Yeah, we're gonna press Shift Z to go to rendered view. I'm gonna add an emission plane too, so we get extra good lighting on that bevel for the plane. So I'm gonna add mesh plane there, and then I'll rotate it like that. And then I'm gonna use the scale tool to move that up. I'm gonna move it back, up, and then to the left. Okay. I'm gonna rotate it so it's facing our scene. That way we get the good backlight. I'm gonna move it up a little bit. That should be good. So now we're gonna go to the materials tab, press new, change diffuse to emission, and then we'll put maybe 10. That should do. Now press Shift Z, and as you can see, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we need to add the shaders, the fun part. So to do this, we're gonna go to the camera view. We're gonna make this the rendered view. We're gonna go to the top right corner. We're gonna go to the 3 dots, and we're gonna drag it to the left. With the mouse in the right view, press T, and then click the cube, and then change that to node editor. If you've never used node editor, this could be a little confusing, but this is how we're going to be using our principled shader. So we're going to click our Suzanne in the top right corner. We're going to hit new in the material tab, and then we're going to change the shader from diffuse to principled, the new one. Now in the node editor, we have all of the glorious options of principled shader. First, I'm going to address the lighting. So I'm going to go to the world tab and change the gray to white, so we have a black background. A white background. Now I'm going to change the base color of our monkey in the node editor to purple. I'm going to change the metallic all the way up because we're going to have a metallic monkey all the way up. It's already looking pretty good. Just give me a second, I gotta go look at my notes. Okay, there we go. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna change this clear coat all the way up. Then we're gonna change this roughness. Actually, just keep it at 0. This is no roughness, no bump mapping yet. It's very smooth metallic texture. So first, we're going to Shift A, search, and then type in image, and then click on image texture, and then click on open. There's another image in the description that you can download. So you're going to find that image you downloaded. We're going to navigate to it, and then we're going to download it. It's a bump map. We're going to drag it over. We're going to shift A, and then we're going to add a bump map right there. And then I'm going to drag the color to height, and then change the strength to 0.1. Drag, we're going to drag normal to the normal and principled. So now we need to add a texture, a UV map. So go back to the solid view. We're going to press tab to go into edit mode. Make sure everything's selected. Press U, and then Smart UV unwrap. And then now we're going to go back to object mode. Go to rendered. And now, as you can see, we're going to change this to GPU. You don't have to do that, but this is just so it renders faster. Now we can really see how that looks. Now we need to add the ground texture. So now we're going to right click the ground on the rendered view, and then we're going to select the pink one right there, and then we're going to click new, the plus button right there. That way it's not linked to the monkey. And then now we need to, give me a second. Now we need to go back to solid view, and we're going to select the plane, press tab, press U, and then press Smart UV unwrap, or Smart UV project, sorry. And then now we're going to go back to Shazzy. Now we have the texture on the ground. But what you might notice is that this texture is kind of pixelated because we're so zoomed in. And there is a way to fix this. And to do that, you select the image texture right there, and then go to the texture tab on the right, and then go to the mapping and change the scale to 4, press tab, and then press 4 again. That way that the texture is scaled 4 to 4 instead of 1 to 1. Now we're going to change the base color to a nice light blue. And indigo will do, doesn't really matter. That should be good. Just make sure the background blends into the ground. Now I'm going to click the text, the principal text, and then I'm going to do one of those two, the blue one. I'm going to go back to the materials tab and then press the add button. That way it's not linked to the other material. One thing I see is that it's not really on the ground. So now I'm going to go back to solid. I'm just going to adjust this. I'm going to change this to arrows. Click down there to do that, to change it. Okay. Now let's see how that looks. That's a lot better. Okay. Now I'm going to change this to red. That's good. Now I don't want to use a bump map for this text, so I'm just going to delete those two nodes there using X. And then give me a second, I gotta adjust my notes. So now we're gonna remove the metallic because the text is not gonna be metallic. And then I'm gonna change. We're gonna change the clear coat to none, and that's it that you need to change. Really, it should look like that. Very basic. And now, I think, yeah, that's pretty much our scene. I'm actually going to change this floor here to a bit darker. That way it really shows. Okay. Now we need to finish it with compositing. First, I'm actually going to add some depth of field. That will smooth out the edges and the textures. Depth of field really adds some realism to your scene. So to do this, just press Shift A, go to Mesh and add a plane. I'm gonna RX 90, and then I'm gonna move it so it's pretty much blocking the main part of the view. It needs to be inside our whole view. Okay, I'm gonna use the scale tools. That should help. There we go. Just adjust it so it's like that. You can go to the camera view, make sure, press Z. That's pretty good. Okay. It needs to be in it. Okay. Now, go to the top right corner. Deselect these, the eye, the mouse, and the render. That way it doesn't show up in the render or your view. Now we're gonna right click the camera, and then we're gonna go to focus in the camera tab, and then we're gonna click on plane 0.002. That's the latest one we added. And then let me make sure I'm gonna put the right value here. Okay, we need to put a 0.08. That should be good. I'm gonna go to the view camera and then go to rendered, and as you can see, it smooths the floor out. You can even lower it if you want, if you don't like it. It just added depth of field, and it smoothed out the edges of the monkey that weren't really being focused. And yeah, also helps smooth out the background. Now we're gonna adjust the resolution of the camera, or really the image. And then this will make it a little more widescreen to add a black bars effect sometimes. So just go to the render tab there and then change the resolution. Make it so it's shorter. That's all you need to do much. You can adjust both these values. This also increases the resolution, so you need to watch out. You need to watch out because you don't want to do too much. It's a good thing, but it can make render times very bad. And if you're able to come here and it has device and you can change it to GPU, then you should go to performance, change that to 256 by 256. But if you just don't have device or just stuck on CPU, then don't change that at all. Now I'm going to change the sampling. I'm just going to change it to 150 because our scene is not that complex. It's already pretty high def. We're just going to put it on 50 for now because we just need a composite. We need a base render. And now we're going to go to render and then render image. So let this load. Okay, now it's done loading. So now we can go to this little thing next to default and then go to compositing. We're going to click on use nodes, backdrop. Yeah, let's use backdrop. And then come to this here, and drag that out. Shift A, we're going to search and add a viewer. And then drag this here. Let's actually change this back to here because it's way too big and I do not remember how to zoom the images out. So just click there next to new and then click on the render result. That way it's not as zoomed in. So yeah, I just don't remember how to do that. So you can just delete the viewer node there. Now we're going to Shift A, we're going to search, and actually no, we're going to add something called vignette. This is darkening of the corners. It makes things look a lot nicer. First, oh wait, no, let's just go ahead and do that. For this, we're gonna need a ellipse mask, excuse me, and then we're gonna add a mix. Yep, and then drag that to image, and then change this to multiply. And now you can adjust these two values so it's focusing on our scene. Just put it about where you want the corners to darken. I think mine will be good around here. Yep, that's good. And then drag this down, and we're gonna add a blur there. Change Gaussian to fast Gaussian. Click relative. Click Y. Type in 20 and press tab, and then type in 20 again. That ends that as the vignette. Now we need to correct the color balance so it looks a little more blue. So to do that, Shift A to add, and then search for a color balance. There it is. Just click on the line to add it. And we're just gonna be playing with gamma and gain. So click on the gamma, let's change it to that blue, and same for the gain. I just really like how it looks. And yeah. Now you can go back to you're done compositing now. So you can go to your default scene and change this to 100%. And just do a render, and you can render your final image. I'll be back in a second. Okay, it's done rendering. Looks pretty nice. You can zoom in really far and it doesn't get pixelated. Very nice picture. It's a nice picture using the principle here. You can go to image, save as image. You want to save your image. So here's what you were supposed to get, what I showed in the beginning. It's pretty much the same thing, as you can see. Very nice picture. I honestly think Principled is the future of Blender. Thank you for watching my tutorial. If you have any questions, ask in the comments. All the links are in the description. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.